What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. And in this video, we're going to be going over the Switch 2's power and how insane it is that the Switch 2 is amazing, power-wise. And we're going to be talking about the games that show this power. Now, it's third-party games. This video is going to be about like third-party games and the Switch 2's power. But for some specific games, third-party-wise, the Switch 2 is doing amazing. So, let's dive into it. So, the power of the Switch 2 is insane, and sometimes it can kind of be mind-blowing at times. We're going to talk about third-party games, but like the actual power of the Switch 2 is kind of insane, because whenever you think of Nintendo, you kind of think of the weaker console. You think of, that's family-friendly, that's for kids. But, like, at least Switch 2-wise, it is powerful. And the reason it's so powerful is because of this little thing called AI upscaling. So, the Switch 2 can't really produce a native 4K on things. And because of that, you might be like, well, is it really that powerful if we can't get a native 4K? And yeah, it is still super powerful because of this little thing that Nintendo patented called AI upscaling. And AI upscaling is used to basically make games look better. It's not running at native 4K, but one way, technical magic-wise, they can use AI to like just change it to make it look like it's 4K. And some people are going to complain about this, and they're going to be like, it's not native 4K. That is stupid. It literally looks the same, though. If you looked at a picture of native 4K Resident Evil 9 on Switch 2, and you looked at the same thing on PlayStation 5, they look the same. Basically look the same, right? And that's why everybody who's like, oh, it's not native 4K. Okay, who cares? It looks the same, though. Just because, like, the power, like, inside the machine isn't, like, the same. It looks the exact same, so I don't think it matters if it's native 4K. So, all those people who are complaining about that, just stop. It looks the same, so who cares? So the AI upscaling is really helping a lot here. And it's basically making it where we can have some insane games on the Switch 2. Now we're going to be talking about third-party games that really use this power. And I selected a few games that I think are really staples of how this power is used. First, we're Cyberpunk 2077. It's the only one on this list that I've actually played myself on the Switch 2. It's a great game, and it looks incredible. And this is kind of a big deal for the Switch 2 because it was one of like the only big third-party games that used game keycards. Real fast game keycards. Yeah, they suck, supposedly, but it turns out that if you use a game keycard, you can actually make the game look nicer. So most of the games on this list are going to be game keycards. Cyberpunk isn't, and so it is insane that Cyberpunk, doesn't like look so good even without game keycard. But Cyberpunk could look nicer if it had a game keycard. But luckily it doesn't. Like, I am okay with it looking worse because I don't want a game keycard. But yeah, game keycards supposedly suck, but in reality, you can have higher performing games with game keycards. This does not apply to all companies, all games. Some companies want money, others do it to make their games look better. Made a whole video on that if you're interested. But Cyberpunk 2077, it launched with the Switch 2. It came out with the Switch 2. It was one of the only like big third-party games so far, and it was such a big deal because they're like, wow, it was the best looking game on this console for a little while until we got some of the others on this list. And the others on this list are very new. So like Cyberpunk was like the best looking game on the console for a really long time. And, Cyberpunk's nothing to sleep on. It looks good, but I do have to mention, it could look a lot better if it was a game keycard. Now, I would prefer it to be this way. But, like, if you think about it, though, if you see Cyberpunk and you're like, wow, that looks really good. Little did you know, it could be, like, we could do better on the Switch 2. And we have. And, yeah, those games are game keycards, but they look a lot better. I mean, Cyberpunk looks very good, but the other ones on this list do look better. Main reason it's here is because it was kind of a big deal when it came out because, it was like the only game, like third-party game with the Switch 2 when it released, so it is kind of a big deal for the console. Now we're moving on to one you probably did not expect, a little hidden gem. Now, I have not personally played this on the Switch 2, but you can take my word for it, I promise. This game is Subnautica and Subnautica Below Zero, both of them. Yeah, those games look amazing. Like, incredible, and no one really realizes. They got a free Switch 2 update, so you can just go and upgrade them if you got Switch 2, and I mean, they look amazing. That's about all I have to say about that. They look amazing. But the big deal is, like, Subnautica, first off, is kind of more of a hidden gem. I feel like nowadays most people aren't talking about it. So the fact that it just randomly got a Switch 2 edition and it looks incredible. Like, it is up here on this list with Cyberpunk and the ones I will mention. Like, the fact that it's here says something. Subnautica is a very big deal that has the power that it does, and I feel like it's kind of an engine. I know Subnautica is a popular game, but most people I don't think realize that it got the Switch 2 update, and the fact that it did means it's a lot better. Like, a ton. You can really see a difference. And, you know, it's a big deal because in the game, you are underwater on an alien planet. Water, though. Like, being underwater, like, that is something that either looks terrible or amazing, basically. You can have really nice water, or you can really have bad water. And I'm not saying Subnautica before had bad water. I'm just saying that it could really need the update. Now that it has it, Subnautica, definitely up there. Moving on to Final Fantasy VII. And I actually talked a lot about this game and how it looked and its power in a semi-recent video of mine where I went over game key cards. And it was a, you know, popular topic in that video because I think when it came out, it really showed that some games need to be on a game key card or else they would look terrible otherwise. So game key cards suck. I have videos on that, but it looks amazing. And because it's not on a game key card. So you just gotta keep that in mind. Final Fantasy VII looks amazing, 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 amazing. Again, that's kind of all I have to say is it looks incredible. It's running insane, and, like, when you look at that, you're like, wow, like, the Switch 2 really is powerful. And the open world of it is just insane. And let's not forget that, yeah, it's a game key card, but if you buy it physical, you get a Magic of the Gathering pack. And there can be really expensive cards in there. If you sell the cards you get, you might be able to make your money back. Just saying. I am just saying. That is a little thing for you. But Final Fantasy VII looks incredible. Okay, now we're moving on to our final 3 games on the list. And they're going kind of all be one part of the video. And these are the ones I am most excited for. In my opinion, one of these 3 is the best looking game on Switch 2 now. I think maybe Final Fantasy VII might have beat Cyberpunk, but one of these 3 definitely beats Cyberpunk. It looks incredible, and it is the best looking game. It is, like, more of a fact at this point. It's technically an opinion, but I like to think of it as fact because, oh, it looks so good. I have never played these 3 games before. I haven't played them at all. But I have done so much research on these games to know that they are incredible on the Switch 2. So, you have our first one of these 3 is Resident Evil 7. It looks so good. And the other 2 are Resident Evil 8 and 9. Resident Evil 7, 8, and 9. These are the games I'm talking about. These games look very incredible. They came out very recently, and they are incredible. And you can also see really good power of the Switch 2 when we're getting, you know, AAA, you know, insane games day one, like Resident Evil 9. And when it released, we also got 7 and 8. So, insane. These games, like, I don't know how to explain to you how good they look. There is, like, I could easily show you a picture from, like, one or a part of one of these games and be like, what do you think it's from, Switch 2 or PlayStation 5? You couldn't tell. I promise you. And, like, you could guess, and you might guess right, but by chance you guess wrong, because it's guess. Point is, these, like, I don't know, like, these are the number 1 games. It does kind of suck that all the insanely fancy and nice-looking games are M-rated. I just want to talk about, because these games are M-rated. All of the ones I've mentioned are, except Subnautica. And, I mean, that's not the end of the world. I'm just saying, like, you know, if you're, like, younger and you want to, like, really experience Switch 2, a little bit bummed out there. But these games still are insane. So, Resident Evil 7 looks incredible. They all look incredible. And they all are, like, the same level of quality, even though, like, some of them are more demanding. But they're all, like, the same level of quality. And 7. In 7, it's about this family, like, a baker family, and this family is, like, crazy and, like, monstery and creepy, and you want to, like, leave the family, stuff like that. All of it, it's first person, which I think really shaped how the, like, feel of, like, these 3 games were going to be. 7 really, like, started the trend for the next 2. Yeah, okay, and then you have 8, which you've probably heard something about 8. It has the creepy lady, 8-foot tall lady, And, she has some daughters, 3 daughters. I'm not gonna say anything, but if you've kept up with news, like when this game came out and stuff, and like the most famous news about this game, you if you know that, you know what I'm talking about. That you got this 8-foot lady, 3 daughters. They catch you, they might chain you up in your bedroom. You know what I'm gonna do. But point is, like again, just incredible looking game, incredible looking game, incredible looking game. I said 3 times. That means it's true. I don't know why I said 3 times, but I did. God trust me if I said 3 times. I know I did. Anyway, incredible looking game. And in this game, instead of having like a small family, like 7 had more of a like one family in like a smaller house. This one has like one family still. It's just a very large family now, and let's just say the family members get a little bit more weird, especially the 8-foot lady. But oh well. Still, like insane game, and like it's again first person, and just insane. And I'm honestly very glad I get to make this video because I love talking about these Resident Evil games. Again, I've never played them, but talking about them, listening about them, just how good they are on the Switch 2, that brings me joy for some reason. I think it's just good fun to hear about how good the Switch 2 is, and these games are the best example for that. Now we're moving on 9. It came out, it just came out, and I mean, again, it's insane how good it looks, and again, like this one, like 9 looks the best on the Switch 2. It's the best looking game on the Switch 2, and like that's basically a fact. I mean, insane. And it's interesting because 7 and 8, like 7 started this trend for like 8 and 9, but I feel like 9 is really like keeping that trend going, but also going back to the roots of some of the older games and like kind of giving you that old feel again. I haven't played these games, I have to take my word for it, but. And, it's first person and third person. You can play as Grace, which is like first person, and you can play as Leon, which is third person. You play as both characters, and Leon's like an old character, which they haven't brought back old characters in 7 or 8, so for old fans, that's probably nice to hear that Leon's back. And, I mean, Leon's a very classic character. But they brought back Leon, you play as Grace and Leon. You go through, and Grace is like a starting detective, and if you know anything about Resident Evil, Leon, he's very like old school, like he's dealt with this before. And it's one of the great things about this game is how it's split between like sneaky zombie, like because these are horror-y, like they're not the scariest things in the world, but they're definitely on the scarier side. I mean, I'd love to play them someday, but a little bit packed with games right now. But it's like then one of the incredible or interesting parts about this game is just how you swap between different styles. Like I said, there are scary games, and most games lean one way or the other. And even older Resident Evil games lean one way or the other. But these games can really go heavily on just both, and it's weird because you are either doing all one or all the other. If you play as Grace, you are sneaking. Like think of like a sneaky horror game where you don't really have good weapons, you are just trying to get out of there. That's what you do as Grace. And as Grace, you just sneak around, but it's, very good quality, everything's just happening. But then, when you swap to Leon, you'll go through that same section, and instead of being stinky and trying to, keep your ammo, you are just blasting through those guys with insane guns, chainsaws, just like, bloody, just like, attacking all these zombies. But for Grace, you gotta sneak past them. And I feel like those are such different genres of horror, like those are the 2 different ones. So the fact that this game combines them so well is kind of insane. But when I say combine, it's more of, you just do both. You don't really do both at the same time, you do them kind of separately. But anyway, though that's Resident Evil, I highly recommend playing Resident Evil on the Switch 2, mainly 7, 8, or 9. But for lore purposes, you should definitely go back and play the others. But, I mean, these games are incredible on the console, but let's give some credit to Final Fantasy VII, Subnautica, and Subnautica Below Zero, Cyberpunk 2077, and Final Fantasy, the next game in the series, is also coming to Switch 2, and it looks even better than Final Fantasy VII did, so, that one will probably be competing with 7 and, 8 Resident Evil quality, so that's something to look forward to, but these are all of the games that I wanted to mention, and go play them if you have a Switch 2. If you're bored and you haven't played these games, I recommend these games. Again, I've only played Cyberpunk out of this group, but if you're looking for a game that really screams high quality, these are the games to play, hands down. So I highly recommend these games if you really just want a game that is I look amazing. And the Resident Evil games are very good, just quality games. They all are. It's just I feel like if I had to pick one that just quality, fun-wise, probably isn't that good, probably Final Fantasy VII, but again, have played them, so that part where I just kind of guess in there. But anyway, highly recommend them. That's going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope you loved it. I know I did. I really like this video because I love talking about Resident Evil. I love watching Resident Evil. I hope you love watching Resident Evil, like 8, 9, and 7, those games on the Switch, like just hearing about how good they are. I, for some reason, enjoy that. I hope you enjoy that. That's why I made this video. I enjoy it. Hope you enjoy it. That's why I made this video. So, thank you for watching. If you've watched this far, you must like my content. So maybe consider leaving a like. Subscribing helps out an extraordinary amount you do not know. Try my best to grow on YouTube, so peace out, everyone.